A little bit about myself. I grew up in foster care my entire life. I went into foster care when I was 11 years old. I was taken away due to neglect and abuse and physical abuse in the home. I was taken away with my sister. I have 11 siblings, so a lot of us were taken away at the same time. I actually was taken away at school. I was never a fan of education as a whole. I grew up with learning disabilities, so education just seemed almost impossible. I am a first-generation student. I'll be the first out of all my mom's kids to graduate college. I am also the oldest girl, so I'm excited. Like, I never thought education was even in my realm ever in my life. So the biggest challenge I faced was finding a way to be myself. I never felt that there was a place where I can just be Marquita. And Marquita is humorous, she's fun, and I feel like that was always dimmed about me, but not here at GS. Some of the other challenges I face is financial insecurities, and also feeling that there's a space for me to do homework and focus on myself outside of my household. So those are the biggest challenges. Like I said before, I experienced learning disabilities, so I felt like going to a university campus was a little bit scary. What resources am I going to have? What connections? Is there going to be extra extended time for my exams? All that type of stuff. I was like, how are they going to give that to me on a big university campus? They're not going to see me. I'm just going to be another person. So I actually, when I was at Mesa College, I heard about Guardian Scholars through two counselors, Marcus Berrien and Sade Burrell. They let me know, hey, you already got your AA. There's no reason why you should stop now. So I applied to SDSU, San Marcos, Fullerton, and LA, and I got into all four of those schools. And I was like, well, why SDSU? And they were like, well, do you want a community that is not going to judge you for your story? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, do you want a community that's going to not just care about you, but care about your well-being and your family as well? And I was like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'll choose GS, Guardian Scholars, I guess. And then I got a chance to meet Marie and Brian, and I was like, okay, this is where I belong. This is my family for real. So yeah. So pertaining my academics, I always thought I would have, it was almost impossible to pay for college. So I was gifted a full ride scholarship to continue here at SCSU to get my degree. Also other supports that I gained was their workshops where I was able to bring the kids. I thought that was so fun. The kids were able to do painting activities, wear their costumes here with the GS family. So a specific moment that I had with GS to realize okay, they're a part of me is when I had a very complicated semester and I was really busy and I wasn't able to show up to a lot of the events that were scheduled for us to show up to. So we had the last two GS meetings and I was super afraid to go to the meetings and I'm like, okay, I haven't been involved in a long time. So I just showed up, I'm like, okay, take a chance. And as soon as I literally showed up to the GS meeting, I walked on the turn upon and they were like, welcome back. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so they not only wanted me there, but they didn't forget about me. So that was the most memorable moment. GS has prepared me for my future goals and reminded myself that Marquita is that girl. I always say silly stuff, but Marquita has a lot to give. Marquita is creative. Marquita is welcome in spaces that the society told her that she wasn't accepted or welcome in. I know that graduate school is something that I will continue to pursue. At first, I never thought I would even be getting my BA, so graduate school is something I know, and I'm gonna go as far as I can go. My goal is doctoral, but I only had that motivation and that drive because GS told me, for one, I'm gonna say this one thing, they celebrated my academic achievements. So when I was able to go up there and hold up my certificate and it was like, yeah, I got a 3-point this and a 4-point this, I was like, okay, if I can do it here, I can do it anywhere, so yes.
My name is Polly Martinez. I am from Los Angeles. Before GS, I went to community college. I went to El Camino Community College in Los Angeles. And it took me a really long time to get there just because I am a former foster youth and I had to work a lot. And I took classes at night. And so, yeah, I've been in school for a really long time, and thanks to the EOPS department at El Camino College is how I even heard about Guardian Scholars, and it's truly because of them that I got to, and my hard work to get here. I think most recently, the specific moment that I realized how impactful GS is through the counseling and therapy sessions. Like, my family home actually burned down in the fires, and so I was very distraught for the first few months of all of that. So I think just knowing that I have the support system here, like I didn't have to, therapy has always been a part of my life. You know, when you go into the foster care system, you're forced into therapy, like you don't have a choice. So I feel comfortable talking to therapists. I just know that it's a process to find the right one. And so what Guardian Scholars provided is like a friendly face of someone that I already know. You know, it's like I've been involved for the last 2 years. It's like it's someone I'm already familiar with. So being able to open up and talk about that tragedy was very helpful for me.
And you're referring to the wellness coaches?
Yes, the wellness coaches. Oh, no, absolutely. Like Bianca's been super great, and so anytime I just meet with her just to review my course loads, and then we just casually chat. So I think if she didn't ask me how I was doing, I probably wouldn't have told her. And then she actually directed me to the counselors, and so the wellness coaches, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know her. Like I did bowling with her that one time, you know, and it's like, I think, like I said, being a part of all of like the monthly meetings and all the like get-togethers that GS hosts, it's what really created that community for me. And it was very easy to speak to her and like talk about the fire. Yeah. GS has prepared me for my future goals by pushing me to ask the questions, by pushing me to put myself out there. Normally I'm just like a quiet, reserved person. I just kind of do what I have to do in order to survive. But GS has really taught me that, like, you need to start planning for the next step. I want to go to law school. So before this, I actually went to a law school seminar, and I wouldn't have gone to that if Bianca didn't tell me about it, So I think it's just, I've learned to really communicate and vocalize what I want and ask for the help, which is something that I wasn't doing before. My advice would be to ask for the help. I feel like it just goes back to that. I feel like being a part of the foster care system when you're young really kind of puts you in a position where you don't feel like you're being heard because you're a child, and like all of these decisions are just kind of made for you, and then you're like pushed into the real world and you're like, oh, now what? And I feel like going through that kind of silences your voice, and then when you get to college and then you have these opportunities, you have to work on really announcing that you're here and that you have goals that you're gonna reach for, and that you're not alone. I feel like that's the biggest factor, is to remind yourself you're not alone and to ask for the help, and the Guardian Scholars are here to help you succeed. So I think just remembering you're not alone in this and to ask for the help. I would say GS is a community for me, and it is, I think that's when I think of GS, I think of community and friendship and people who don't judge you. I would say utilize everything that GS has. Like I said, I meet with Bianca a lot, and she reminds me that I'm on track, but I'm always like, no, I need to, like, can you please make sure that this is what I'm doing that's correct? And just, I think to remember that, like, everyone has their own journey, and no one is ever going to make it through a straight shot. Life is about taking steps, and you take a curveball, and then you will make it there. So just remember that not alone, and that you have a great support system with GS, and that you can do it.